All right, I need to pull apart my first aid kit, throw away old crap, some things I'm changing out, and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be doing. But I want to show you this. This is the Kriega Hydro 3 carrier. I showed it before in a video where I did a review of the R15 backpack, but I'm going to try something a little different. So I got the 3-liter bladder in here, and this attached to it is the Kriega US5 roll top waterproof bag. I use this as a tank bag. You can also attach the US10, but it is designed by Kriega and comes with the correct straps to attach it to any of the outsides of their backpacks, so you can like add on storage. So it's a very narrow profile this way. So I'm going to try it out and see if it's better, maybe if it traps less heat and whatnot. But anyways, let me switch over to the workbench here. I'll grab my first aid stuff and we'll just take a look at what's in there. Okay, so this is my first aid kit bag. And before we get started, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not telling you to do things to yourself. I'm not telling you to do things to other people. I strongly advise you to get professional first aid training. All the equipment in the world is no good if you don't know what you're doing with it. It can actually be dangerous. Okay, I'm just going to show you what's in my kit. I'm refreshing it for this season, so there's probably some expired stuff and other crap, and some things that I want to change out. Okay, so this is the bag I use. It's actually a pretty decent bag. It's not waterproof. It was probably 15 or 20 bucks on Amazon. But it's actually nice, and it fits down right inside that Kriega 5-liter waterproof thing I put on my Hydro Pack. But we'll get to the contents of that in a second. If you open my Hydro Pack, the first thing you're going to see in a Ziploc bag is going to be that. What the hell is that? Okay, this is sterile Curlex gauze. Okay, and then this is a crusty looking ace bandage that's about to get replaced tomorrow. What can you do with this? Okay, you may have seen like an Israeli bandage, a pressure bandage for controlling bleeding. You can turn this into a pressure bandage. Okay, and it's actually better than an Israeli bandage because it's more flexible. Okay, so you can use the gauze to pack down into a very deep wound. You can use it as a compression to compress onto a bleeder. And then the ace bandage you can use to wrap it all up and hold pressure on that and help control the bleeding. But you can also use this just by itself if someone has a sprain or a strain, or you can use it actually to wrap something up and make a little splint, for like a wrist injury or something like that. So it's very handy. So I put that in a Ziploc bag, and that sits at the very top of my roll top pouch as soon as you open it. Okay. Now, the next thing, this is actually at the very bottom of my roll top pouch. This is, it's kind of hard to see, but this is a sling. It's an arm sling, can be used on the left or right arm. This is left over from when I broke my collarbone, but this can be very handy. If somebody breaks their collarbone, a really nice thing you can do for that person is to get them into a sling and take the weight off of that collarbone. That will give them a lot of relief. You can pick these up like at most pharmacies and crap. They're not very expensive. You can, of course, get them on Amazon. But I carry that. Also, I watched a video from Alaskan Dual Sport. One of the guys he was riding with that day like broke his shoulder or broke his collarbone or something. So they had to like rig up a sweatshirt as a sling, and then he had to ride out on the back of somebody's bike. And it was kind of painful every time he got jostled. So if you got a regular sling, that would be helpful. Okay, so now we're going to look at this kit. And again, there's some things that are coming out and some things they're going to add, and I'll tell you about them. There's also going to be some things that I'm going to have in here that you should not use unless you have been trained to use them. Okay, so they're okay to carry, right? If somebody else arrives on the scene with your patient and they know how to use the items, then you'll have them on hand. But if you don't know how to use them, one of the items specifically, you can kill someone. All right, so I'll point those things out. But 99% of this stuff is if you have basic first aid training or skills, you're fine to use it. Okay, so let's open this up. Now, you can see this pouch folds out and has all kind of flaps. And let me see if I can back up a little. But I'll do the best I can with my camera here. It's my iPad sitting on a stool in front of me. But philosophy first. Most of the things in my kit are trauma items. Okay, so I differentiate between boo-boos and trauma. Boo-boos are things that are annoying, but they are not life-threatening. A boo-boo could be diarrhea, a small cut, a blister, something along those lines. Okay, so I don't carry a lot of boo-boo stuff. I am going to add some of it, though, because I'm going to make some space for it. But I'll go through each one of these fold-outs and cover what's in here. Now, I used to carry this whole thing in its own waterproof sack inside my R15 backpack, but now it fits right in the 5-liter US 5 thing. Okay, so on this first flap, in its own little bag, because these are liquids, I have water gel, burn gel, a couple of these in here. This is really good stuff. Some of the best stuff you can get as a, I don't want to say the word civilian, but as a non-prescription. That would be the right word. Okay, so water gel is the good stuff. In my main first aid kit, my family kit, I actually have some very large water gel burn dressings that are impregnated with this stuff. But for, somebody burns their finger on their exhaust or gets a 2-stroke pipe on them somewhere or something, this will give them some really good relief from that. Okay. Also in here, on the back side, are some sting relief. All right. Now, I have heard, I'm not telling you to do this, but I have heard that you can take a Benadryl and crush it up, mix it with a little bit of water, and you can rub it on a bee sting, and it can help give some relief there as well. Now, if someone is allergic to bee stings, like seriously allergic, they should be carrying a first aid kit with like their EpiPen or something, and they should let the other guys know, like, hey, if I get stung by a bee, I'm going to go into anaphylactic shock, and my EpiPen is in my backpack. All right. So the other thing that's in here are tegaderms. Tegaderms are transparent, almost like saran wrap bandages. You peel them apart, and they have kind of a border on them. There's like a cardboard border. And when you apply it, that all comes off, and the only thing that's left is this saran wrap looking thing. But tegaderms are really good because they're really easy on the skin, but they will seal up a wound, keep crap out of it. Or if you put a little burn gel on somebody's burn spot, then you can cover the whole thing with like a tegaderm and keep things from rubbing against it, irritating it. That can be helpful. All right, so let's move over. This here section contains nitrile gloves. I gotta get some out of my box. I use nitrile gloves instead of latex because some people are allergic to latex. All right, next over, these are 3M Steri strips. These are, if you've ever seen glass tape, you see how it has fibers in the tape here? Okay, so Steri strips can be used in lieu of stitches temporarily or a skin stapler. I do have a skin stapler in the main family kit, but get the hell back in there. Yeah, put them in later so I don't ruin them. If you ever seen a boxer after a fight with like a split eyebrow, usually they put the ring doctor will put Steri strips on it to hold that eyebrow shut. So if somebody has a gash that is not a bleeder, not life-threatening bleeding, you can close it up with Steri strips, all right, and get them somewhere. All right. Now, on the back side of this is a Adventure Medical Kit's Wound Medic. It's a wound closure kit. It has Steri strips and all that kind of crap in there. It's kind of an all-in-one. It has some gauze, has some different bandages. It has skin tack, tactical adhesive or topical adhesive. Basically, it's crazy glue that you can use to seal a wound. Some antiseptic wipes, some antibiotic ointment, and a syringe with an 18 gauge tip to wash something out. This is probably really not necessary in this kit. This would be more if you're backcountry hiking and you've got a day or so walk out and you've got to like really dress something well. That would be more useful. We're only like an hour or two from the trucks, you know, so this is probably a little overkill. I might remove this and put it to use in a different kit. But you never know. I don't know. I mean, that's where we usually ride. We're an hour or two from the trucks. If we take an adventure and I'm going to be 4 hours into the woods, I might want that. Okay. So then our stair strips go in here. Maybe if I do one at a time, they'll go in a little better. Get in there. All right. I'll quit fucking with those. Okay. In the main compartment here, these are trauma shears. If you are not familiar with them, these will cut a lot of stuff. They will cut a seatbelt. They will cut jeans. They could even cut leather. But this prevents them from cutting the patient. A lot of uses for these. If you have to get access to a wound through somebody's heavy-duty motorcycle pants, they'll be pissed you cut their pants, but they might be happy that you patched them up. So those go in there. Okay. This is a hemostat. If you've been to public high school, you may be familiar with this as a weed smoking implement, but that's not what we use it for. I'm not really going to go into what it's for here. I'll just say this is one of those pieces of equipment that it's okay to carry, but if you don't have training on what to do with it, then carry it, but only whip it out or make a medical professional aware that you have one. Okay. This is a SWAT T tourniquet. It's a rubberized tourniquet. I have this because it's very convenient to fit in here. On the outside of my backpack, I also carry a tourniquet and a tourniquet pouch. Sometimes if you need one tourniquet, you need two. So I always carry a second one. The other thing that was in here, which I already threw out, was an expired quick clot. Now, quick clot is a hemostatic agent that will make a wound clot very easily. Okay, it usually comes in powdered form or a sponge or gauze form. I prefer the sponges because if you have to, you can stuff it down into a deep wound rather than the granules. There are different brands. There's Celox, there's Quick Clot. Those would probably be the two most well known. But here's a fresh one. You can get these on Amazon. Okay, this is two sponges in here. Okay, and that will stop a good bleeder. Okay, especially like an oozing wound. It's not going to stop arterial bleeding. All right, but it'll stop a pretty bad bleeding wound. All right, handy to have, and it's extremely lightweight. Okay, next in this little thing. Boop. Okay, this is simply a aluminum waterproof pill case. Okay, it's got an O-ring gasket there. You can do, if you go on Amazon, and I'm not kidding, you can find all kinds of like these like 3-packs, 6-packs, whatever, all different sizes. These are listed, I think when I bought them, as a medium size. Okay, there's like little small ones that are like this big, and there's like really big ones. I mean, you can use it for all kinds of camping stuff. You can put waterproof matches in here. You could put like a little ridiculous emergency fishing kit, whatever. Well, what's going in here are 325 milligram adult aspirin. Now, I'm not telling you to do this, and I'm not telling you to do this to somebody else. I'm just telling you that I heard that if someone is having a cardiac event, like a heart attack, that if you give them 1 to 2 aspirin and they chew them up and swallow them, that can be very beneficial because aspirin is a blood thinner and it can reduce the chance of a fatal clot. That's what I've heard. All right. I've also heard if someone is having a stroke, do not give them the aspirin unless directed to do so by 911. So that's just some stuff I heard on the street. All right. last little section here. Okay, this is another type of gauze. This is S-rolled gauze. All that means is it's a lot of gauze rolled like if you were laying paper towels on top of each other to get a shitload of gauze in as small space as possible. You can also buy vacuum sealed gauze, which compresses it, and there's also Z-rolled gauze. But anyways, that's in there. Gauze is good. You don't have to have this Celox stuff. This is really good stuff. Okay, the Celox stuff kind of comes out in like a bundle. Okay, this you can kind of like pull an end and like wrap more with it. Okay, next thing, this is straight from Boy Scouts. Okay, this is your classic triangle bandage. What can you do with a triangle bandage? You can make a sling. You can use it to make a compression bandage. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. You could pee through it and filter your piss and drink it. I don't know. Don't do that. It's definitely useful to have. And here's another ACE bandage. Very useful. Okay, so let's get to some dangerous stuff. All right. This is an adult oral airway. This used to be in the kit. This is coming out of the kit. It's going back into the home kit. Okay. That is being replaced by this. This is a nasal airway with lube. All right. Now, the size of this airway is, let me get it into the camera here. This is a 28 FR 9.3 millimeter. Why that size? The military has determined that this size airway will fit 95% of adults. Okay. If you needed to make it smaller, you have your trauma shears, so you can make it smaller. This is an item that if you do not know how to use this, have not been trained to use this, do not use it. All right. This is perfectly fine to carry if someone, happens along who has medical training. You've got the gear. Okay. They may not be carrying a first aid kit, but if you've got a nice first aid kit, then you've got stuff they can use to help your buddy. All right. But seriously, if you don't know how to use this, go get training on how to do this. But you can carry it, but don't use it if you don't know how. You can fuck somebody up. Let's see what else is going in here. Oh, yeah. I'm going to grab this from down here. These are just little CPR shields. So I'm just going to throw one or two in here. Okay. These are pretty cool. I got these on Amazon. They came with this nice little pouch, Velcro pouch with a key ring. Got like a 5-pack. I don't think it was like more than $12, something like that. But there's a ton of these on Amazon, different manufacturers. Just find whichever one's like highest rated. It gives you like the most for the money. All right, that's going in there. We talked about I'm going to add some boo-boo stuff, some Band-Aids, some bullshit like that. Well, anything can happen, right? Dirt biking injuries. I've looked at some different information. Most injuries occurred during racing situations, which makes sense because people are, pushing themselves and in close contact with other riders in tight quarters. A lot of injuries are on four-wheelers. Okay, dirt biking, trail riding is actually pretty safe as far as outdoor sports injuries go. Most injuries, 65%, are to the lower extremities. So it could be anything from a strain, sprained ankle, a tib-fib break, something like that. Something super severe would be like, like a femur break or something. That would be, it's definitely possible, but that would be, on the rarer side of things compared to like, oh, I sprained my ankle, right? Upper body injuries could include broken ribs. I've broken mine a few times. Collarbone breaks would be fairly common. The forearm, breaking a bone in the forearm. Wrist sprains, breaks, and breaks of the small bones of the hand. That reminds me, I'm going to put a little Sam splint, finger splint thing in here too. But anyways, those would be the most common types of things. More severe injuries, of course, would be neck injuries, injuries to like the larynx. Like, I don't know, you run into a freaking branch right on the front of your neck, crush your larynx. I don't know. It could happen, but I'm just saying that would be like something completely freakish if that ever occurred. Or head injuries, concussions. Okay, that would be another big one. All right, but most of the time, unless you're a real fast guy, we're not going terribly much faster than like downhill mountain bike dudes or mountain bike guys. I don't want to minimize the chances of getting injured. You can definitely get jacked up dirt biking. I've injured myself plenty of times. I've seen other people injure themselves. Have I had to use my first aid kit out on the trail? Maybe once or twice, minor things. I just feel better having it. That's just kind of my OCC or OCD personality. And I let other guys I ride with know that it's there, just in case. But generally speaking, you're pretty safe. If you want to throw together a kit for yourself, a lot of this stuff like the gauze, the ace bandages, all that kind of stuff, that's all cool. Some boo-boo items to, if you get a boo-boo so that you can continue your ride and be more comfortable, that's all great stuff. Some of this other stuff, again, just a reminder, you can carry it, but please don't use it if you don't know how to use it. But that's pretty much it for my first aid kit, what I carry it for, and what's in it. All right, so I do encourage you to carry one of some sort. Be safe out there and look out for each other. I'll talk to you guys later.